Hello everybody, I'm going to perform a Duet procedure, a implantation of a toric Rainer lens, a Ray 1 toric, combined with a trifocal sulcuflex lens. Here I perform a limbal incision, 2.4 millimeters. Now I instill some intracameral anesthesia. Now the next step is that I implant the toric Ray 1 lens. I first instill some viscoelasticum to inflate the capsular bag. Wasser bitte. So this is a preloaded system of the Ray 1, and I will inject now the lens into the capsular bag. This lens is a hydrophilic closed-loop single-piece lens, quite a stiff haptic that is good for, especially for toric purposes. So if you want to have a rotational stability, you see the marks of the torus here, and now I will rotate the lens into the capsular bag. Bisschen Wasser bitte. And bring it on axis. So I rotate it in position. I think now this is well positioned. The next step now is to remove the viscoelastic material from the capsular bag. So I first go behind the lens and remove the viscoelasticum from there. Ist es noch Polishing? Nein, oder? Na, zurück bitte. So now it is removed from the capsular bag. Bring the lens in position again, because that's important, because after implantation of the add-on lens, you can't remove that very precisely. Tupfer? The next step now is the implantation of the add-on, the sulcuflex trifocal lens. Viscoelasticum, viscoelasticum. Now again, I bring viscoelastic material into the anterior chamber to have space for the implantation and to press down and backwards the bag lens. And then I bring viscoelasticum behind the iris so that I lift the iris a little bit. That makes the implantation easier. Now I'm going to implant the trifocal lens. I grasp it here at the haptic. It's a very soft hydrophilic material. Here you see the lens with the trifocal rings, and here there is the injector. And you bring it here behind the two wings. That's important that the optics are behind the wings. The optic is quite large. It has 6.25 millimeters of diameter. And then I fold it a little so that it is folding downwards. And it is important that the trailing haptic is behind the wings and not entrapped. Wasser bitte. Now I press the plunger, and then I will see if there is some resistance. There's no resistance, it's easily moving forwards. So, Wasser bitte auf die Hornhaut, dass man schön sieht. You can see the lens in the injector now. And now the next step is the implantation. I bring it into the anterior chamber. The leading haptic will open quite controlled, and I bring it behind the iris, as you will see soon. I do it in a slow motion movement, and you see the trailing haptic is also getting into the anterior chamber. So, Spatel. And now I position the haptics behind the iris. As they are very soft, as long as there's viscoelasticum within the eye, they sometimes do not open by themselves easily. But you will see when I remove the viscoelastic from the eye, they will position themselves in the sulcus. First, I lift and go into interface. I remove the viscoelasticum from the interface here. That's important. And then I remove it from behind the iris and the anterior chamber. I always position the sulcoflex lens in the area 90 degrees to the first lens, so that the haptics are in a different position within the eye. You see the lens, the toric lens, is still stable, even though I'm doing some manipulations on the sulcoflex lens. It stays in position, quite stable at 90 degrees, 93 degrees. It's a 15.5 millimeter, 50.5 diopter lens in the bag with a torus of 1.5 diopters. So now I have evacuated all the lens material. I now will hydrate the main incision. And then finally I will give pressure into the eye so that it is well positioned, the bag lens and the sulcus lens. And they are now well centered, both lenses.